Destiny 2 Update 1.1.4 is live. Alright, let's dive on into it. Or rather, I guess what I should say is by the time you're watching this video, Update 1.1.4 should be live. But right now the patch notes are live, so let's go ahead and dive on into some of the things that are going to be changing, some of the stuff we're learning about. That's going to be changing in Update 1.1.4. These are the full patch notes. It's got some of the things that weren't previously discussed, like some of the Nightfall specific loot. Now, this is going to be a long one because I'm going to go through, or at least I'm going to try to go through the entirety of the patch notes. So you might just want to put it on as a podcast as background noise, since it's probably going to be a little on the boring side. Now, and of course, at the time that I'm recording this, the patch itself hasn't fully come out. The servers are still down, so I haven't had a chance to play any of this stuff. But I'll probably pepper in some basic gameplay and whatnot once the servers come up, just as, something for you to look at. Alright, let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, strikes. Nightfall Strike unique rewards have been activated. Possible rewards include legendary weapons and exotic accessories. Exotic accessories, yeah, so that's going to be a thing moving forward. I have no idea what that means, but I like it. I like that we're not just getting legendary stuff within the Nightfall exclusive things. Anyways, moving on. Drop rates increase in likelihood based on score thresholds. This is for the whole challenge mode, prestige mode thing. If you activate modifiers on the challenge mode card, that increases your chance of getting these legendary weapons and exotic accessories from the Nightfall. Very good. Strike repetition reduction has been added. Players will no longer see the same strikes back-to-back in strike playlists. Good, I was super sick of running Savathun's mixtape over and over and over again. Challenge card changes. They've increased the power handicap maximum from 40 to 45. We knew about that. And of course, we've got some little bonuses and patches right here. They fixed Tree of Probabilities. They fixed issues where players could respawn below the boss fight in a garden world. Some of the stuff that would prevent you from moving forward. Let's move on. Then up next in the other section is a bunch of little patches, stuff like fixing the whole weapon or shader preview thing, having Prometheus lens correctly appear within your exotic weapon collection, stuff like that, little things. But let's get down into the sandbox changes. This is the real meat and potatoes, the steak of this big patch. Let's see what exactly they've done with weapons. Alright, pulse rifles. They've increased PvE damage for all pulse rifles by 16%. That's a pretty nice bump up within the PvE environment. They've increased the rate of fire for adaptive and high impact pulse rifles. That's also a damage increase. Adaptive from 360 RPM to 390, that's an 8% increase. High impact from 320 RPM to 340, a 6% increase. Not bad at all. They've increased the base damage for adaptive, high impact, and rapid fire pulse rifles. Adaptive from 14.5 to 16, that's a 10% increase. Not bad at all. High impact from 16 to 18, that's a 12% increase. And rapid fire from 12 to 12.5. So a very small increase in damage. Anyways, increased precision multiplier from lightweight pulses from 1.5x to 1.6x. They've decreased the precision multiplier for adaptive pulse rifles from 1.55 to 1.475, and as a design note, this keeps precision damage close to where it is now when you factor in the base damage and rate of fire buffs above. Basically, they're saying don't worry about the decrease there, the nerf. It's to accommodate for the base increase in natural damage from pulse rifles so that they don't deal too much damage. They're trying to keep things in line here. Makes sense to me. Alright, moving on to scout rifles. Only one real change here. They've increased PvE damage for all scout rifles by 15%, and they've increased the base damage for all high impact scout rifles from 37 to 40. It's an 8% increase. Good, I like this. Scout rifles in PvE should be strong. You should be one-shotting most red health tier 1 mobs in PvE. At least if you're landing your precision shots. For hand cannons, this is going to be a good one. They've increased PvE damage for all hand cannons by 15%. Very good. Precision hand cannons deal 0.15x times more precision damage, increasing from 1.5x to 1.6. Also good. Anything that gives me more damage in PvE, I'm happy with. They've increased the hipfire accuracy when using controllers on console and PC by 33%. Wow, on console and PC. They're kind of bringing us back to the beta days of hand cannons with controller on PC. And they've increased ADS accuracy when using controllers on console and PC by 25%. Now this is really good for console players. If you're a hand cannon user on console, basically your hand cannons are going to start to feel as good as they do on PC. I don't know if any of you Guardians out there play on both console and PC, but you'll notice a clear difference in hand cannon performance on PC versus on console. I'm glad to see console brought up to that level. Alright, moving on for sidearms. They've increased PvE damage for all sidearms by 15%. They've increased hipfire accuracy, reduced cone by 20%, they've increased ADS accuracy and reduced cone by 12%, and they've increased overall inventory, allowing more reserve ammo to be stored. Also, they've increased the range fall-off start by +1 meters, and they've increased ADS movement speed, so a ton of buffs for sidearms. These are going to be great in PvE. 15% base damage increase, that's very good. Of course, accuracy, extra accuracy is always a good thing, and having more ammo. I did feel like sidearms kind of had a low ammo reserve, especially the semi-automatics. You know, the non-burst fire sidearms. Anyways, moving forward. Submachine guns. They've increased PvE damage for all subs by 10%. This is good. Set optics to 1.3x as the base, and they've increased your overall inventory. I'm very happy. If I can just say really quickly, I'm very happy that they didn't nerf submachine guns at all. I was super afraid that with the dominance of guns like the Antiope and close range in PvP, that they were going to be seeing some kind of nerf to bring them in line with Uriels, and I'm glad to see that they're not being nerfed at all. Moving on to linear fusion rifles, they've increased PvE damage for all linear fusion rifles by 50%. Holy schmoly. Yeah, I can agree with that. Linear fusions, they did feel a little bit weak in PvE, and even when you compare them to sniper rifles, it's like, why would I pick a sniper that takes time to charge if it's not dealing an absolute butt ton of damage? Why would I pick that over a sniper rifle, and why would I pick a sniper rifle over a rocket launcher? Very happy to see that they're going to be bumping that up by 50%. That's a huge damage increase. I'm going to have to grab my my Tarantula and head straight to PvE and see what kind of damage numbers we can get. They've also increased the aim assist and decreased the flinch multiplier. Hallelujah. For shotguns, they've increased PvE damage for all shotguns by 35%. This is almost as big. Oh, not really. I was going to say almost as big as the big PvE shotgun buff we got in like year 1 of Destiny. But not quite that large, but still 35% pretty darn good. My Saint 14 shotgun is pretty happy with that. Increased inventory, allowing more reserve ammo to be stored. They've increased aim assist on Suros precision shotguns. Those are the slug shotguns. Hallelujah for that one. For sniper rifles, this is going to be a big one for a lot of Guardians out there. They've increased PvE damage by 20% for yellow bar enemies and by 40% for red bar enemies. You should be one-shotting all red bar enemies now, and dealing a bit more damage to those elites, those majors, and ultras. They've also increased the precision damage, which now scales with the weapon's rate of fire. That's perfect. Faster rate of fire sniper rifles should deal a little bit less damage than the slower rate of fire, higher impact, higher hitting ones. They've also changed it from 2.5x for everything to 3x. 3 times at the lowest rate of fire, up to 3.5 for the highest rate of fire. That is the precision multiplier. It's a pretty big change. I'm down with it. They've increased aim assist and increased inventory. For grenade launchers, they've increased blast radius. Good. That's something that a lot of grenade launchers need. I think certain archetypes of grenade launchers should just automatically have a grenades and horseshoes projectile proximity detonation sort of perk intrinsically on them. But increased blast radius is definitely going to help with actually getting kills with a grenade launcher that isn't named the Colony. For the drum-fed grenade launchers, it's 0.5 meters. For the one-shot grenade launchers, it's 1 meter. Good. The one-shots are pretty bad in this game. Fighting Lion is going to really appreciate that. Now, for the Mida Multitool, it gets its own little section here. They've decreased the Mida Mini-Tool's optics to match other submachine guns. That's fine. They've prevented the stacking of lightweight and the Mida Mini-Tools. I don't like that. That's kind of a nerf. So they've prevented the stacking of lightweight and the Mida Mini-Tool's lightweight perks. That means you can't get super duper agility when you stack lightweight and the Mida Mini-Tool. Oh well. And they've adjusted player movement speed to match the Mida Mini-Tool. Alright. For auto rifles, they've decreased range by 10 for all precision auto rifles. That is the Uriel's Gift 450 RPM tier. They've also decreased aim assist for all precision auto rifles. You're really gonna feel a lack of aim assist on ranged encounters. This was done so that they can't, match and compete with scout rifles in PvP, and I think that's a good change. Them not knocking down the damage at all, just changing the way they work at range is fine with me. Alright, that's it for weapons. Let's move on to some of the perks. They've scaled up PvE damage for the following perks. High Impact Reserves has been bumped up from 1.2x to 1.3x in PvE. That's a 16% damage increase, pretty darn big. And in a surprising move, Kill Clip, they've bumped that up from 1.3 times damage to 1.53 times damage. It's a 15% damage increase for Kill Clip. I did not think they would be bumping up the damage on that or Rampage, but both of those are getting a buff in this, and I'm very happy about that. Now for Rampage, from 1.33 at 3 stacks to 1.65. That's a pretty significant increase. Also, they've increased the duration from 3 seconds to 3.5 seconds. I still wish Rampage had like a 5-second duration time rather than a 3-second duration time, but bumping it up to 3.5, we're taking baby steps here. I can appreciate that. Now for a big one, Dragonfly. They've buffed the damage on it from 50 to 65. That's a 30% increase. 30% additional damage against extra enemy combatants. That means additional enemies who get hit, aside from the enemy whose head you're blowing up, are going to be taking big damage. And of course, they've updated the FX for it. We got to see a quick clip of that from Cosmo with a Dragonfly-equipped Suro Slug shotgun. Looked pretty big. Explosive rounds, we knew this was getting a nerf. They've decreased PvE explosive round damage multiplier by 15%, but they've increased PvE damage for the base weapons to compensate for this decrease. Basically what they're doing is they're lowering the damage of the explosion, but they're bumping up the impact damage from the bullet itself. So you deal less explosive damage, more impact damage from the bullet. So it's not really too much of a nerf there. I don't know if you're actually losing any damage there. It's just kind of being swapped around. The Grave Robber perk now reloads 50% of the magazine instead of 30%. Thank you for that. My submachine guns will appreciate it. Timed payload now splits damage 55-45 explosive and direct instead of the previous split, which was more direct damage. Now, let's move on to some of the ability changes that are coming. They've increased super regeneration rates from 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Ooh! That just hurts to think about. To 5 minutes. Just think about how fast you got your super back in Destiny 1, and then look at this, like 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Whew! They cut 1 minute and 40 seconds off of that. That's good, though. The output of every increment of the mobility stat from 2 to 10 has been increased, allowing for significant boost in player speed. Vanishing Step, which is invisibility upon dodging, and Vanish in Smoke, which are, of course, 2 Night Stalker abilities, are seeing some changes. Dodging remains unchanged and still breaks both aim assist and projectile tracking for the duration of the actual dodge. But the invisibility granted by Vanishing Step no longer breaks aim assist or projectile tracking in PvP, unchanged in PvE. They've also increased the duration of invisibility granted by Vanishing Step by 1 second and increased the duration of Smoke Bomb invisibility by 1 second as well. They've increased the movement speed of melee supers, so Fist of Havoc, Sentinel Shield, and Arc Staff. While these supers are active, sprint speed is automatically set to the fastest possible sprint speed. No additional perks needed. Characters automatically sprint when you request forward movement, so you're automatically going to run rather than having to tap in the button. And increase movement acceleration to reach max speed almost instantly. This is good. This was something that you could notice with Fist of Havoc. You ran pretty quickly in it. But Arc Staff really needed something like this. That class was just way too slow when trying to gap close with people, and it was really easy for them to just burn you down. Now, for the Titan changes, they've increased the distance the player travels with the untargeted airborne shoulder charge, shield bash, seismic strike, and hammer strike back to 4.5 meters. Hallelujah! Once again, they've reverted the changes they made to shoulder charge so you can actually use it as a movement option. Now, for the jumps. For Strafe Lift, they've increased top speed of Strafe Lift. For Catapult Lift, they've increased the initial horizontal acceleration gained from activating Catapult Lift, and they've increased the amount of time Catapult Lift can be active to allow for more control. Does this mean Titan surfing or skating is back? Probably not, but you're going to be jumping a bit faster. Alright, for Hunters, for Arc Staff, they've increased the speed of the Arc Staff dodge animation. They've increased the speed of all Arc Staff attack animations. And for Arc Staff Supercast animation and all Arc Staff melee attacks, they've reduced the amount of time you're locked in animations before you can move or attack. So you're just going to be able to shuck and jive a little bit faster as an Arc Staff user in PvP. They've also increased the AoE range of all Arc Staff attacks. All very good changes that that class definitely needed, in my opinion. Alright, for my beautiful Warlocks. For Glides, overall they've increased the initial extension of vertical speed gained from activating Glide to allow for quick, on-demand bursts of speed. Yay, my Warlock surfing. Now for Strafe Glide, they've increased the top speed of Strafe Glide. They've greatly increased the horizontal acceleration of Strafe Glide to allow for more in-air maneuverability. And they've increased Strafe Glide's max height to match the other vertical movements. For Burst Glide, they've greatly increased the top speed of Burst Glide, higher than Strafe Glide's top speed. And for Balance Glide, they've recalibrated the glide to gain some of the added speed of Burst Glide and some of the added horizontal acceleration of Strafe Glide. Now, as a design note, I like when they put these in there. Our intent is for Balance Glide to have some of the properties of both Burst and Strafe Glide without being as potent as either version. I appreciate that. Ooh, Dawnblade up next. They've decreased the cost of throwing sword projectiles with the Daybreak Super, allowing for one additional throw. Yes, extra time in my super is always something that makes TBL happy. They've increased the super duration extension gained from the Everlasting Flames perk by 20%. The buff granted by the Swift Strike melee ability now removes all in-air accuracy penalties while active. That is kind of interesting. I wish there were no in-air accuracy penalties, but Warlock's having an ability that basically removes that so you can be super accurate when you're gliding around in air. I'm okay with that. And they've decreased the Icarus dash cooldown from 10 seconds down to 6 seconds. That's another hallelujah moment, because that's such a cool move. It's basically the Titan mid-air dive that we used to have back in Destiny 1, but you have a 10-second cooldown, so I'm glad they reduced that a bit. And finally, they've increased the grenade and melee energy that Heat Rises gives you per kill from 10% to 16%. Not bad. And they fixed an issue where players could throw infinite numbers of Nova Bombs in Mayhem. I like how they just kind of slid that into your DMs at the end there. No more cheesing. Mods! Now, for mods that affect ability regen rates, for grenades, melees, class abilities, they now have increased output, an extra 16.667% per mod. Or maybe that's the max now. They still cap at 3 mods for a 50% regen rate. Good. Crucible changes. They've now added a weekly featured playlist. This includes Rumble, Mayhem, and Iron Banner. They've also added Crucible Repetition Reduction, which is to prevent you from playing, the same game mode, Supremacy, over and over and over and over again. They've added that to Quick Play, Competitive, and Iron Banner. And they've added in, of course, the quitter penalties, where incomplete matches in competitive Crucible playlists will now result in a warning or a temporary 30-minute suspension. We talked about that in a previous video. They've also added some invisible physics and kill volumes to keep players inside the intended playable area on a number of maps. Now, Iron Banner changes. Of course, Iron Banner's being changed to be 6v6. Time limit's going to be 12 minutes, score limit's going to be 125 points, respawn timer is now at 7 seconds, and for control, all control zones are going to start off neutral. This is basically reverting things back to the way they were in Destiny 1, where if you were playing control, if you spawned on A, you had to capture A. If you spawned on C, you had to capture C before you make that mad dash for the middle ground of B. And of course, additional Guardians who are standing in that zone is going to increase your capture speed. And then we've got some power ammo changes. Recurring side crate respawn rates have been reduced from 90 seconds to 45 seconds. They've cut that in half, and the initial side crate respawn timers have been reduced from 90 seconds to 30 seconds. So you're going to be getting power ammo more often and more quickly now. Then we've got a couple of other quick changes for Crucible, like match length for Clash Control and Supremacy has been extended to 10 minutes with the score limit adjusted accordingly. And for all modes, they've increased assist and kill credit time from 2 seconds to 2.5 seconds. So you're going to be getting even more assists in the game. They're opening up the window for that just a bit more. They've increased super energy granted for players for both kills and assists, so hopefully you'll be getting your super even more. This compounds with the lower super recharge time that we have now. And players who are defeated while carrying power ammo will lose all of their power ammo and drop 50% of it on the ground as a brick. This brick is visible to all players and anyone can pick it up, and the brick expires after 30 seconds. But you're not just going to have to walk over that brick to pick it up. It's going to require a full 1/4 second interaction instead of passive walkover. You're going to have to go and press square or X or whatever key it is for you to pick up things. The interaction can be interrupted if the player takes damage. Oh boy, this is going to be insane in Crucible now, as everybody makes a mad dash for the purple brick that drops from the person who shot their sins of the past incorrectly. Alright, for quick play. For all game modes, match length has been extended to 10 minutes with score limits adjusted accordingly. Respawn time for all quick play game modes has gone down from 5 seconds to 2 seconds, and recurring side crate respawn time has been reduced from 90 seconds to 60 seconds. And in an interesting move, the player's super display has been removed from the HUD, but players can still access this information in the desk screen and while in the navigation mode when their ghost is out. This change only affects quick play though, it's not in competitive. You'll still have that super display HUD, so that you can tell when, the enemy team has their super and whatnot. For control, of course, they've reduced the initial side crate power ammo respawn times from 90 seconds to 30 seconds, and they've changed the amounts of super energy players get from capturing zones. Players on the capturing team get slightly less than before, and players participating in the capture itself get 2 times that amount. So you're actually going to want to play the OBJ in control now if you actually want to get your super faster. Good stuff. And for Clash of Supremacy, they've just made power ammo changes. Alright, for competitive, including Trials of the Nine, Tracker is now turned off. That means no more minimap. Whew. They say this is to enable more flanking and expression of individual power. Hopefully it doesn't just lead to kind of what happened in Inferno in Destiny 1, where you just have people camping corners with shotguns. We'll find out soon, though. For For survival, they've reduced recurring neutral crate respawn times from 75 seconds to 45 seconds, so again, more of that power ammo coming your way, and they've reduced respawn time to 7 seconds. For Countdown, they've reduced recurring side crate respawn time from 60 seconds to 45 seconds, and they've lowered the revive lockout time from 20 seconds to 7 seconds. Players no longer lose revive tokens on death. And now for overall Crucible power ammo crate changes. Rockets now get 1 rocket. If you're using Sins of the Past, you no longer get 2 of those easy, cheesy, peasy rockets. For drum-fed grenade launchers, you now get 4 grenades. There's been no changes for drum-fed grenade launchers. Single-shot grenade launchers now get 6 grenades, which may be capped by weapon inventory size, but that's a bump up from 2. Sniper rifles now get 6 shots. Shotguns now get 5 shots. Slug shotguns, however, will get 6 shots. Fusion rifles now get 5 bursts, and Wardcliffe coil stays only at 1 volley, because they know how you like to cheese with Wardcliffe coil. Swords now get 6 total swings. It was 30% of total energy, capped at 9 swings. That's been bumped down a little bit. Linear fusions now get 4 shots. The Prospector now gets 8 grenades. That might actually be worth using in PvP now. While the Legend of Acreus now gets 4 shots. What it was 2 mags capped at 4. Which means it was kind of variable how much ammo you actually got. The Tractor Cannon now gets 6 shots. Now if only we had a reason to use the Tractor Cannon. And the Colony stays at 4 shots. Very surprising. I was a little bit worried they'd be bumping that down. Darcy gets 8 shots, and now the Borealis also gets 8 shots as well. And there we go. We've reached the bottom of the patch notes for update 1.1.4. Sorry if I bored you. I wanted to go through all of it because there's quite a few things that are going into effect. But there we go. Hopefully by the time this video is going up, 1.1.4 will be live and you Guardians will be experiencing the Go Fast update on your own. Be sure to let me know. I mean, like I said, I'm making this video before the update itself is coming out. So let me know. Have you played around with any of these changes? What do you like? What do you dislike? Right now is the perfect time to start giving feedback to Bungie. You know, so they can know what to improve upon as they move forward. But alright, there we go. I do believe this video has gone on more than long enough. I hope you Guardians enjoy 1.1.4. And if you don't, well, there's plenty of other games you can go back to playing right now. That's it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I'm TheBlackLink. You Guardians, stay frosty.